Alright guys, hope we're all doing good. So I figured today, you've probably seen me post, whether it's been on Discord or the forums, or super recently it would have been on Steam as well. I've more or less fine-tuned this. There's still some problems here and there. If you've played it yourself, you also know there's some problems. The biggest one being mouse cab controls are just a bit of a mess. But I think today I just want to kind of give people a bit of an idea as to where it's at the moment. We're going to go for the Birmingham Cross-8 because quite a good kind of fun scenario, to be honest. And for this particular train as well, we've got big open windows. It's a big cab. Gives you quite a good experience. To be honest, all of them are a really good experience. But in particular, I just got this one quite recently and kind of stood out. So we'll give that a quick shot. We'll do. I like this one because you will get to see. Actually, yeah. So in the description there, it mentions about coupling and the way this works in VR, which you're not going to get in just playing. If you're playing on a flat screen, you're not going to experience this, and it's just one of the things that you get with VR. If you've played any VR Sims, even Sims that have the ability to be played in VR, so got Elite Dangerous, Microsoft Flight Simulator. There's going to be countless others. If you're a sim racer, you're going to know exactly what I mean by this. So we'll start this and see how we do. So, with this, by default, you start in the cab. Some of them, as you know, you'll start in the platform. Right away, this is more or less set to how I think I had it last. If you've not played VR, you're not going to know exactly what I mean by this, but everything I'm seeing in front of me, as I look around, it looks like it's right there, basically. This is a native VR experience. This is going way beyond Vorpex. Not to obviously, say anything bad about them, because it was what it was, but you are getting a lot more from this, basically. So we're just going to set this up. I've more or less learned all the keyboard controls. It's kind of necessary at this point, and it's not hard to learn, but we're going to just do this now. So get a master key on. Going to activate the safety systems. So you can see on the HUD, see me just activating it all here. Break it down, after that. Put it forward. And we're going to use, for what's really handy here is you've got Y and U are your door keys. So if you remember that, they're right next to each other. If you have the ability to look for, if you've got a gap in your headset around your nose, if you're honest, but it's very, very common on the Quest 2. You can just have a peek, and that's a good way of just knowing where your hands are. So yeah, as you can see on the HUD, I've got the minimal HUD set up. Works really nicely. In my opinion, it's probably the best HUD. If you're doing this in VR, this is how you do it. Because I can see everything in front of me. Let's just turn some more stuff on here, actually. Just realized. I think we're almost there. Get the doors closed. I don't think I need to adjust anything else, but green, let's go. So yeah, the sense of speed right away, I don't have to, well, not even guess, I assume, but even here I'm actually going a little bit too fast. Let's slow down. But I don't have to look at any of the digital displays anymore. I can literally just pop my eyes down, tilt my head down a little bit, and I'm instantly looking at the speed. Slow down a bit. And I've also got my brake pressures. I can see exactly where we're at. Let's bring this up a bit. But I've also got the track monitor, which is really great. So, if you already know what the speed is for the section you're in, then all you really have to do is, just keep an eye on your speed and just have a look for upcoming speeds. So 45. So down just a touch. So yeah, I mean, like I say, this is a native VR experience. So when if I pop out here, it'll look a little bit chaotic, but this is all this is all in VR. I'm seeing no flat images here. Pop back in. One thing you can do. I might be in a wall right now, but I will fix that. But one thing I can do, I notice I'm sitting a little bit forward in the seat. I don't think you can see this, but I do have a menu with UEVR, which is the mod you use to get your game into VR, basically. Let's see. We might actually be able to just do it now, actually. Well, I was positive there, but I don't think it's a bit better. Now it feels a little better. So what we got here, we're going a little bit fast. So I'm going to slow down even more. You don't have to always look, I mean, you can look there if you want. You can look at your controls. There's certain habits you can develop, or I mean, that certain habit I've got at the moment is like, do keep looking at the right, which does give you a little indicator as to what controls you're pressing or such. So again, here is a fun part of being in VR, is I'm looking at the window and I can gauge exactly where I'm coming in maybe just a little bit too fast. Maybe just slammed it into emergency by mistake. But yeah, we'll open the doors here. So I mean, the thing is, again, just to kind of emphasize that I'm in VR, if I really want to, I can get up and have a look around. He's looking a bit suspicious. We can do this as well. Let's see. Oh.
Ticket checks are in operation at this station. Please have your ticket ready for inspection.
So we'll go back in again. Get the doors closed. We're good. As this is quite a long route, we're probably going to jump ahead, but for the next minute maybe, I'll just let it run as is, just so you can get a bit of a taste as to what it's like. One of the best things you can do with this is nailing your settings and just getting a nice consistent frame rate with this. Just makes the game a lot more enjoyable. So if you do get to try this, do play with your settings and try and just, whether you have to take some of the scenery away or draw distance, some visual effects, it really does help. Let's bump up that screen percentage, which lets you see a little bit further into the distance. So one of the things that I did know people anticipated, and to be fair, it did happen to some extent, but because this game isn't optimized for VR and it existed before VR, was the issue of Judders, or just basically like lag from the game, just not, I don't know whether it's optimization or just the way it's being made, but yeah, you do get a little bit of it in VR still, unfortunately. One thing to note though is I've definitely noticed it's running quite a bit smoother, and I do think that's because you do have to dial back quite a lot of the settings, especially the effects and post-processing settings. It might be visible on here, but I've had to turn a lot of it off, and it is noticeably a lot faster, to be fair. But if you can deal with a bit of lag, it's really not that bad. It doesn't really pull me out of the immersion that much. It only does hang like here and there. In the rare instance, it does get quite bad, but beyond that, it really isn't too bad. I'd say certainly for the first steps into VR for this game anyway, this definitely gets the game at least 80% of the way there. You know, the next steps would be to try and like iron out any other instances of just bringing some settings down, whether that's going beyond the in-game settings and tweaking, you know, render distances or other stuff similar to that. But yeah, beyond that, it's really good. I think to get this game to like a native experience of being in VR, fully native, would be for motion controls to be implemented, but it's either, well, at this point it's up to the community, you know, not just, you know, the Train Sim World community or the Dovetail community, but just anyone. You know, I don't know if there's going to be a universal way of doing this, or if it'll have to be strictly written for this game. But if that could be done, you know, that'll eliminate some of the big problems. Something I was going to show in this video, but I think it might be best for a separate video, but shows the kind of chaoticness of trying to I think the mouse basically, you know, exists in a 2D plane, and to have, you know, it's trying to interact with like a stereoscopic 3D kind of area that it just, you know, it's not programmed to do that. You know, it's like it's trying to. The best way to describe it is, you know, a limp piece of spaghetti, trying to thread it for a needle, trying to get to some of these controls, and you know, if you're against the time, you know, it's you know, you're gonna be struggling trying to set stuff up, trying to somehow locate where the mouse sits, because it's still, you know, it's not moving anywhere else other than the HUD. So yeah, not great, but you do get the hang of it, and you do find that tweaking the position of the HUD. So if I move this around here, you do get a bit of, you do get some control, but it's not great. I thought I overshot that, but it's smack bang in the middle. Or undershot, sorry. But yeah, I think another issue maybe people were bringing up was whether motion sickness is a thing, and I think this is pretty tame. There are games that will make you, like, not vomit. I mean, you're not going to just sit down, put a headset on, and instantly vomit. It tends to be more to do with games like racing games, for example. Sim racing, really bad for that sometimes if you're not used to it. What else is there? But yeah, this is fairly tame. There is, and I can't stress this enough, there is tools within the UEVR mod tool that will let you snap turns. So by default, I think it's turned off. but it's not hard to turn on. Like, you literally go. I don't think it's even in the advanced menu, and then even if it is, it's clearly marked. Not rocket science. But yeah, you should, for the most part, you should be fine. Especially again if this is your first time playing VR. But if I'm honest, I would probably play other games just so you get your VR legs, which I think is what it's quite often referred to. And if you can stomach a few of those like kind of typical VR games, if that's like gun games, just any sort of like VR fuller, just I don't know what to call them, like arcade games almost. The sort of gimmicky ones. Like, if you can stomach that, get your VR legs for that, then you'll be fine with this. Yeah, the other thing I see people as well is like, you do really want to, I would say the entry level headset for something like this, definitely the Quest 2 is a good shout. And if you are on a budget, if you can either get one second hand, borrow one, I mean, that's all you really needed. You're looking at maybe, give or take £100. I've seen some people trying to use, they've had some mixed results, but using their phones, kind of similar to like the Google Cardboard, and they've had mixed results. Those programs that they use for, like, there's a program that some of these apps are using, you're just not fully utilizing graphics cards. You could have someone sitting there with like a decent graphics card, but for whatever reason, like the Stream app that these phones are using, just don't use them. And they're getting like hilariously poor frame rates. So yeah, if you can get your hands on anything similar of like a Quest 2, is definitely your best bet. Yeah. Some more views. I mean, the thing is as well, if you're when you're watching this on YouTube, you're gonna be seeing what just kind of looks like it almost kind of looks like just someone moving a camera around. But for me, like I say, this is fully, the sense of scale. Like, if I go down here, it's like the sense of scale. Like, that feels like it's right there. Then the amount of details, but I could see there was like stuff like I can't remember which one it was, but I was like noticing all sorts of little details. There was even like a logo on one of these headlights, which I had never, I've maybe noticed it before, but just seeing that with the headset on, it was interesting. And maybe one thing as well, actually, because I just noticed that you probably can't see it, but so Dovetail have this implementation of like it's physics, some kind of physics, and it's to do with their poses. And you'll notice this if you give it a shot, is that they only render in your left eye. There is a way to get around it, but it's not worth the performance hit just to get to fix this problem. And it's like basically just the pipe. You can see it in one eye, but because you can't see it in the other, you get this kind of weird ghost effect. It's a weird visual. It just looks a bit weird, basically. And again, it's not really game breaking for me. Some people, it might annoy them. I just don't know how you get past that, really. Like, you'd have to. It's something about Dovetail would have to look at if they were to ever bring this on officially. So. Again, just to kind of reiterate, the fantastic thing is, I'm looking at that board right in front of me there, and I know now that I don't really have to look at the track monitor other than to see if there's a change going down, really. Even, so we're about to hit 50 there, so drop time. Just gonna coast. Actually, no, just not that one even more. So we're going down now. Okay. But yeah, if you're like really familiar with any of these routes, then this is going to be a playground for you if you're really going to enjoy this experience. Because yeah, you're not going to have to rely nearly as much as other people, looking at track monitor and such. I will say now, I don't play, I'm not like super massively clued up on how to do things and play this game, so there might be times I just come in a bit too fast or break a bit too hard. So yeah, totally, call me out in the comments if you have to, but I'll tell you what, this played it in VR, again, not to kind of lament it, it does totally change. Playing this in the amount of times I'd overbreak it or underbreak it, and yeah, I feel like I could just hit the sweet point now. Being able to see how fast I'm coming in, because again, sense of speed. You do get used to obviously playing on a flat screen for so long, but for the most part, in VR, just different ballgame. So yeah, if I haven't said it already, I'll most likely be cutting down parts of this video because I doubt people want to be waiting about. Because I don't remember having to wait so long at each stop. But that I must be just doing very well, or just running way ahead of what I'm meant to be doing. But yeah, I will likely jump if there's any sections where I'm either not talking. I might jump ahead because this isn't going to be so much as a playthrough as it is more of just a information-based video, just to let people know where everything's at, basically, with this project. So yeah, one of the things that I think would maybe have been very noticeable there will be the issue of dropped frames. And again, we did touch on this earlier. So one big thing, if you are using something like the Quest, or just any recent headset, you might have the ability to use, I can't remember the name of it, but there is an option, and I'll put it on the screen, is you can use a tool or utility, or a feature, I guess in this case, to interpolate the missing frames. And that will make your experience a lot more pleasant. Again, it really just depends how fussy you are with the performance. Because again, for me, I have a much higher tolerance for just slow frame rates. I think mostly because the trade-off. I don't mind a slower frame rate at times. If I can, just being able to play this game in VR is a good trade-off for me. So I believe we are coming up to a stop where we will be connecting, and I think this will just be another good opportunity. I could be wrong, actually, I'm not 100% sure. But I think let's see. Actually, I get to touch on something here as well a little bit. Let's get through here first. So, ironically, this was a feature that people didn't like when the 4th edition of this game came out, and that was going into tunnels. And people really didn't like the eye exposure that you get at the end of this end of tunnels, but ironically, with NVR, it actually adds to the immersion, in my opinion. So I can turn on the lights, just get. You can see it looks very cool, very immersive. Being in tunnels in VR, as crazy as that sounds. Yeah, I do think this is the stop I'm thinking of. So when we pull in here, we will be coupling to the train in front. And the thing I really enjoyed about this bit, you'll see in a second, is once we drop off and collect here, slow down a bit. We couple in front, and I ended up standing up, which is not something you'd be able to do in the original, like 2D version of this game. So that's just about move. We're going to couple to the train front. Let's contact the signaler. Boom. There we go. So I'll say just move off very slowly. So there it is. So we'll creep up and I will be concentrating, but if I can, I will talk it through. But it comes to us. So get a bit closer. Get a little bit closer. So, at this point, again, much more appreciative when you're in VR for this, but let's get a little bit of power. There we go. Let's lock that down. So actually this bit you'll see, you'll see a bit of moving around on the platform. So let's do that. So again, this is going to be a little bit crazy, maybe a little bit jerky. Like I say, you can sort of. Oops. I think I might just got moved by something there. Yeah. I can interact with some stuff. Big objects in this, easy to interact with. It's the smaller stuff that's a bit tricky. But yeah, it's all good there. Maybe I forgot to turn the lights off. It'll be fine. For this anyway. Yeah, again, as you'd expect with it being a VR. Sometimes you might just need to get the height just a little bit right, because right now I'm definitely a lot taller than I would be in real life. Maybe the view of a 6 foot tall person. Anyway, let's take this up. Get close to it. Oh. Ignore that opening there. That'll be fine. So I'm just going to get set up here. So again, just using the Control and Shift Enter key will enable those systems over there. Let's get that's up there. Cancel that. Open the doors. Let's get the lights sorted as well. Yeah, looks good to me. Yeah, I think what we'll do after this, I'll run it a bit forward. If I think most things have been covered. If you have watched this, I've missed anything. Again, this isn't really meant to be a guide. That's going to come later, probably in written form. Or I'll post it in the forums. I'll post it on the Discord. The Discord and the forum. Mostly the forum is the kind of most central place I'm trying to keep people up to date with. Mostly because there's two big demographics for the most part. Yeah, there's some people who are seeing one place, some people are seeing another. It's easy just to cover those two bases. But if there's something you want covered, please say below. And if I can, I'll try and do another one of these. But again, the general takeaway of this is just to see, just for people to get an idea of what it's like. I'm definitely not the first person to post about this game in VR. But given the involvement, mostly for myself, between more so the community that this mod came from, and having kept tabs on it for so long, and that there wasn't really anyone else at the time centralizing this information, I figured it was about time I maybe put a video like this together. So yeah, and for the most part as well, I definitely vote for this, even though I knew it wasn't a popular. When Dovetail originally polled the community about getting this game into VR, it did score low, if not very last. But honestly, from everyone I've spoken to who has had the chance to play this in VR, I've said nothing but good things. Obviously, there will be some negative experiences, but for the most part, that's unfortunately either people using hardware that's not suitable or weird combinations, which is fair enough. Like, the Quest 2, whilst it's the cheapest headset, isn't. It's still you're still having to part with at least £100 or more in some cases. It's definitely, if you can put money aside to get a Quest 2 second hand at the very least, it's worth it. Not just for games like this, but just getting a foothold into VR. I definitely have the opinion now that VR is more like a choice for. Well, for example, you have a computer, you have a monitor, you have square monitors, you have widescreen monitors, you have ultra-wide monitors, you have ultra-wide curved monitors. Some people play in portrait. I feel like VR now has cemented its place within that choice of how you want to play games on your computer. And honestly, it's like, I think with this tool, this mod, the UEVR injector, is opened up a lot of games to VR that generally weren't originally designed to be done so. It's crazy. And it's absolute style. We're probably going to overshoot this. Oh, maybe not. Actually, we're fine. I thought I was a lot shorter there. But, yeah. As I said earlier, pretty much think all bases are covered, but more than happy to do a second video if there's enough interest. So, yeah, just let me know below. And if you've watched this far, then cheers.